If you can
Okay.
just do the narration.
Okay.
Sure, I will do that. I will
Great.
do that. So,
I'm gonna give Jenny, Jenny, are you ready?
Yep, is it up there?
There's
No.
one
No.
other. No, not yet.
I
Bye.
just have to do share screen. now.
Wait, Jenny, we have the video first too?
I wasn't sure if you still wanted to do that.
Yeah, it's just 10 after 11, so.
Okay.
I'm gonna give a quick, just a quick introduction, if y'all don't mind. There's a great article on the RI website that says millions of people all over the world are currently displaced by armed conflict or persecution. In fact, 90% of casualties in armed conflicts are civilians, half of which are children. Through service projects and Rotary programs, the Rotary family is committed to pursuing projects that address the structural causes of conflict, including poverty, inequality, ethnic tension, lack of access to education, and unequal distribution of resources. On August 25th of last year, Jenny and I were contacted by our former neighbor in Midland, Michigan, a wonderful woman named Umbareen Jamil, who shared with us a beautiful story about a Muslim woman in Milwaukee who had just been recognized by the 500-member Rotary Club of Milwaukee.
Wow.
Now, Umbareen was quite the community advocate in Midland, and so for her to share the news about this woman in Milwaukee, let me know that she had to be pretty special. To make a long story short, I Googled the woman and the story Umbareen shared and couldn't believe the information that came back about Janan Najeeb. Janan is the founder and current president of the Milwaukee Muslim Women's Coalition, which was established in 1994 as a local resource organization dedicated to promoting an accurate understanding of Islam and Muslim women. Their mission is to lead positive community change through advocacy, dialogue, education, using faith-based values to ensure dignity and equity for all. The Milwaukee Muslim Women's Coalition provides educational materials and resources to promote understanding to schools, universities, businesses, law enforcement agencies, healthcare centers, religious establishments, community organizations, and the media. Their reach has extended to include leadership and job training program for women and girls. They empower women to be economically secure, strengthen family relationships, and realize their value in community and country. Some of their projects include Our Peaceful Home, which focuses on abusive domestic relationships, the Wisconsin Muslim Journal, reporting on news relevant to the Muslim community, the Islamic Resource Center, which is the only library in Wisconsin with Islamic resources, and the Milwaukee Muslim Film Festival. Janan has won countless awards for her work, including the Frank Ziegler Award from the Interfaith Conference of Greater Milwaukee, which called her one of the best known and most active associates for interreligious understanding, tolerance, and friendship in Southeast Wisconsin. But perhaps the most relevant award for purposes of our meeting today was Janan being named Milwaukee Rotary's Person of the Year for 2022, a first for Muslims. I'm going to say nothing else and let Janan speak from here. She is a member of the Milwaukee Rotary Club, so let's give a warm round of applause and welcome.
Hold on, Janan, we got one more thing.
well, thank you all so much, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. I thought, wow, who are they talking about?
Yeah, we know you're.
Thank you so much. First of all, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, great. Well, thank you again for inviting me to speak to your club. It's sometimes it's a little bit uncomfortable talking about yourself, but I think in context of the work that we do, I think it's an opportunity really to share some of the wonderful work that's been happening, and also to talk about the importance of this type of work. And so before I, kind of get into the work that we do, I felt it was important to give you just a little bit of background about, who I am and why this work is so important to me. And so if you look at the first slide, which is that includes the Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem and Al-Aqsa Mosque. This is for Muslims called the Noble Sanctuary. This is one of the holiest places in the world for Muslims. And
Sorry?
I was born
You don't wanna
in
hear this.
a. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
I'm gonna mute him.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So as I was mentioning about the Noble Sanctuary, this is very near where I was born. I'm a very proud Palestinian American and Muslim American. Although I am a naturalized citizen, I came to the United States when I was 3 years of age, but in some ways I'm actually a third generation because my grandfather used to come from the Middle East and he was a businessman. And of all places, one of the main places he used to come was to Milwaukee. And then when my father was about 15 years old, he brought, his father brought him to come and to also learn the business and to go to school. And if you go to the next slide, you will see my father, my late father. He went to school here in Milwaukee. About a year after he came as a teenager, his father actually passed away and is buried in Milwaukee. So my father remained here and he finished his schooling, went on and did a technical college. He served in the U.S. Army, and you see there a picture of him in the Army. And then he went back overseas. He got married. I was born. I'm the eldest of 4 siblings, and then my brother was born. And then they decided to come to visit to the United States. And they thought that they would stay here for about 6 months or a year. But what happened is the 67 war broke out between Israel and the Arab countries. And the Palestinians that were outside the country, besides the ones that ended up being refugees, the ones that were outside the country were not allowed back in. And so we remained in Milwaukee. I grew up in Milwaukee. My parents were part of the first Muslim-Christian dialogue in the country. This is something that I used to tag along with them while I was in high school. And it was something that I realized at a young age how important dialogue was. And long after I continued with that. So if you go to the slide, for the next slide, that shows some of the programs of the Milwaukee Muslim Women's Coalition. One of the first things we realized is that most people, when they have fear of the other, or when there's even a hatred of the other, the overwhelming majority of time, it's not because there's really something tangible. It's most often because they don't really know the other person. They don't know the other culture. It seems maybe different to them. Maybe the belief system is different. Maybe they're getting their information from certain sources that have demonized certain groups of people. And so nothing can really replace the opportunity for dialogue and information. And so we began the Milwaukee Muslim Women's Coalition. We were a group of about 20 women at the time, and we were all professional women, many of them doctors and professors, teachers, nurses, and we all had the same story, that there was such a misconception about Muslim women in the broader community. And this was affecting our ability to get certain positions. This was affecting the way people viewed us. And we felt that what we wanted to do was to create an opportunity to really change that. So that's how we founded the Milwaukee Muslim Women's Coalition. And we started doing lectures, presentations, having panel discussions, joining and being part of book clubs. I myself probably have given, since 1994, over 2,000 presentations. And so this has been really instrumental and has deeply, deeply impacted really who I am, because there has seldom been a time that I haven't walked into a place, particularly when we go into rural areas of Wisconsin, for example, where they have never met Muslims, where they might have never met people of color, where they've never met an immigrant, for example. And people almost at times seem fearful. You don't really know they don't know what to expect. And so I thought I tend to try and break the ice. And because the first thing that they notice is my hijab or the scarf that I'm wearing. And I usually say, oh, don't let that scare you. It's a great tool on bad hair days, And you sort of get the discussion going, and slowly as you talk and slowly as they realize that, we have so many more similarities than differences, it sort of opens up the opportunity for dialogue. And this has been really, really impactful. And I think that as a result of the work that we have done, many cities and states have seen so much violence after 9/11. And I think that Milwaukee in particular, and even Wisconsin, has not seen that level of violence. I think a lot of it has to do with the outreach and the work that we have done. We also have, as was mentioned, we published the Wisconsin Muslim Journal. We have the Milwaukee Muslim Film Festival. We do tons of outreach and even public health programs. And all of them really are part of our mission to outreach and to help build really bridges of understanding. And we have networking brunches. We have, book clubs. Our book clubs, we read books about different, historical books, different types of things about Muslims, about Muslim beliefs. The vast majority of people in our book clubs are not Muslim. And in fact, we have a Catholic priest and a professor, a retired professor from Marquette, who moderate many of our book clubs. So let's move to the next slide. That's just the entrance to our center. It's a larger center with in back you will see you can't see it from here, of course, but there's a library, and it's a lending library like any public library. People can come in, but it's also a cultural center, and it's become a place where a variety of different groups come, because we have a great space to be able to have meetings sometimes. And the Interfaith Conference of Greater Milwaukee, the Committee for Interfaith Relations, for the past 10 years, their meetings are actually held in our main hall. So moving to the next slides, and you can probably go through a number of these. Here's just a student that's coming in to use the space to be able to work on her homework. We have, you go to the next slide and you see a community, just a group that have just stopped in to learn more about it and to see, we have children's books, and this family wanted their child to have more knowledge about the growing Muslim community in Milwaukee. And so they want to pick up some children's books. And, we get these types of groups all the time. Go to the next slide and you'll see here's just one of our networking brunches. And we have a speaker that comes in. It's a variety of people from the community that come in. And it's an opportunity to share. We have a brunch. We have a presentation. We have an opportunity for people to talk and dialogue. And it's actually a very, very popular event. And you can go to the next slide again and see just, again, some of our visitors. You can see part of our library in back there. Go to the next slide, and here's a group, again, a group that had come in to visit and to learn more about the Muslim community. We often have groups that just want to know more, and we'll bring in some Muslim individuals, and then we have the people from the general public that are there, and and we really have great discussions. Sometimes we'll show a movie or a film, and just give people an opportunity to get to know each other. And this is really instrumental in dispelling stereotypes, in really affecting conflicts that are going on, and just building community, building a sense of community. And as people learn about each other, learn about the many beautiful cultures that make up our society, it's just very enriching to everyone that participates. You can go to the next slide, and this is just, we just captured a picture of one of our last articles on the Wisconsin Muslim Journal. It's a free online publication. And again, we bring stories from across Wisconsin, new businesses that have opened, chefs, doctors. Particularly during COVID, we ran quite a number of stories. There are so many Muslim doctors in the United States that have been at the forefront of, treating people. And again, this gives people a chance to log in from wherever they are and to learn more about the Muslim community. Who are we? Just to know that we're regular people. We are raising our children. We're working. We're trying to make society a better place to be. And yes, we might dress differently. We might have certain dietary restrictions, but at the end of the day, we're all really the same. Go to the next page. We were one of the main organizations, community organizations, that was instrumental in working with the Afghan community. We have quite a number of Afghan families that were resettled in the greater Milwaukee area and in Wisconsin. And we created a buddy program. The buddy program actually it links kids or children and youth that came from Afghanistan with youth in the broader community. And so they have a buddy that they can work with. And so there's, they gain knowledge from each other, and they it's so exciting to watch some of our American kids really trying to explain words or explain concepts to some of the children that have very minimal English skills, and you find they're walking around holding hands. There isn't that conflict between these kids because they realize that they're kids and they're playing together and they're enjoying each other's company. Go to the next slide and you'll see a continuation. This is the older kids that are part of the youth program. So these are, half of them are Afghan kids. And then you have a number of other kids from the broader community that come in here. They're sharing lunch together and participating, and it's really been eye-opening for a lot of people. Go to the next slide, and you see here that we have a sewing circle that we started for the Afghan women to really, many of them are phenomenal seamstresses. This is just something that every female learned in Afghanistan. And so we are training them on the new machines, and they can sew unbelievable clothes without patterns. And so this is a way of hopefully economically empowering them. The next slide, you see here, we have a support circle for many of them because many of them have family members that have been left behind, and leaving their country within 2 days was very, very traumatic. You see one of our partners and volunteers. He's a professor at Marquette University. And so this has also been very, very helpful in helping them understand American culture and becoming more comfortable with American culture. Go to the next slide, and you see just an example of one of our talkbacks during the film festival. And this is after one of our films. It was called The City of Ali, about Muhammad Ali and his life. And we bring a variety of people, both from the Muslim community and from other faith traditions, to be part of our panels and to have discussions and to share the different viewpoints. So people have this exchange, and there isn't this lack of understanding about what's going on. And then you go to the next slide, and that's me at the Rotary Club. So sorry you can't see my face on the screen, but that's what I look like if you missed me. So this was at the Rotary Club of Milwaukee when I was giving my acceptance speech. And go to the next page, and these were some of my team members that I brought to the Rotary when I was getting the acceptance speech as well. But what I wanted to do briefly, very briefly, if I have time, and I know that we might be, I don't know if we're running out of time because of the delays, but, what we do, and every time I go to any location, I use the opportunity really to send people away with a few points that hopefully are new to them. So if we can go to the next page. One of the biggest misconceptions, I think, about Muslims and Muslim women is regarding our hijab. And the idea that this is, oh my gosh, who would, why would people dress like this in this day and age? They must be forced to do that. And this must be something that is very, very oppressive. So it's really an opportunity for me to explain that, no, this is something that we consider beautiful. It's a part of our faith. It's a commitment to our faith. And if we can go to the next slide, we have to put it in context. Wearing hijab or covering of the hair or modest dress is not something that's particular to Islam. It's something that you find among the Amish. You find it images of the Virgin Mary, images of Mother Teresa, just simply because we have become a more secular society, and you don't see that doesn't mean that this is still not practiced. And as Muslims, we definitely practice it. We believe that modesty is part of faith. We don't dress this way, of course, in front of other women, in front of our family members, but this is our public dress. And we believe that modesty in society is something that is missing, and we continue to do that. If we go to the next slide, I always like to bring these points up and ask people about if they feel that these rights are important. They're found in the U.S., in the Constitution of the United States, the preservation and protection of life, the freedom of religion, the preservation and protection of the intellect, the protection of private ownership and property, meaning the government can't come and take this over, the protection of procreation, the protection of the species and the earth. And when I tell people these are the 5 main components of Sharia law, they're very taken aback because the media has given us the impression, and different groups have given the impression that Sharia law is some punitive law that cuts off heads and cuts off hands, and this is not correct at all. The Sharia law is, in fact, there's a lot of evidence that will tell you that some of the founding fathers, including Thomas Jefferson, who owned a Quran, that many of the components that are within Sharia law were incorporated within the U.S. Constitution. Let's go to the next slide. And, you know, we always hear the word jihad. Jihad just simply means struggle. And the greatest jihad is the struggle within your soul to do what's best, you know. You can use the word jihad for many things. I always say my jihad is malt balls because I love chocolate malt balls, you know. So it's just important for people to understand what that word means. It does not mean holy war. There is no word that means holy war in Islam. There's no war that is holy. In fact, that is honestly, it's a crusading term, holy war. So you know, when we hear the word jihad, let's remember that just means struggle, and it's really about the struggle to be guided and the struggle to do what's right and to be God's representative on earth. The next slide, if we go to that, that is the Kaaba, and that is the holiest shrine for Muslims. It's located in Mecca in modern-day Saudi Arabia. And when Muslims turn to pray, they turn to pray and face the Kaaba. And so you see how the people are kind of like in a circle around that. There's absolutely nothing in the Kaaba at all. What it is, it represents the first house on earth that was built for the worship of one God. It was built, the original structure was built by Prophet Abraham and by his son Ishmael. So when Muslims turn to pray, they are symbolically saying that I worship the God of Abraham, and I turn to the direction of the Kaaba, which was built by Abraham and his son Ishmael. Next slide. Again, a lot of the misconceptions is that, you know, Jews and Christians are mortal enemies of Muslims. No, on the contrary, we're all part of the same Abrahamic faith. In fact, within the Holy Muslim scripture, the Quran, Christians and Jews are referred to as people of scripture. And that is an honorary title. We believe that we share the same moral code. We believe in one God, the God of Abraham, as creator of the universe. Allah is just simply the Arabic word for God, and we prefer that word because it can't be pluralized and it can't take gender. As Muslims, we believe that God is beyond human description and cannot be finite and is not a male. We believe in the virgin birth of Jesus. Every Muslim is required to believe in the virgin birth of Jesus as one of God's miracles. But we believe that all the prophets, Muhammad, Jesus, whatever, Abraham, Moses, that all of them are actually prophets of God. We have immense love for the Virgin Mary. There's an entire chapter on Mary in the Quran, and she's the only female mentioned by name in the entire Quran. And there are, in fact, more references in the Quran to Moses than there is to Muhammad. So let's go to the last slide. And I just want to leave you, you know, as we talk about the importance of conflict resolution, the importance of really building community through dialogue and getting to know the other, that's dispelling the fears. I think about a beautiful verse in the Quran that says, "O humanity, you've been created out of a single male and a female and made into nations and tribes so you may come to know and cherish one another, not despise each other. And truly the best amongst you is the one that is most conscious of God." And so this has really informed my entire life's work. It's something that affects everything that I do. And I have I'm so grateful for the privilege to be able to do this work through an organization and many like-minded people. And I have built so many relationships and so many coalitions with many different organizations and groups. And I hope, I know that I probably went far over time, but I am available for any questions you may have.
Janan, thank you very much. And Jenny,
Any questions? We've got a few minutes yet.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Janan, I noticed that during the presentation, didn't get to hear about how the relationship has been with the government officials for Milwaukee. You had to initiate, you and your supporters had to initiate this organization, but how has the relationship been with the government helping you to build that bridge of understanding between the communities?
Yeah, between government officials, you mean, right?
Yes.
Well, there are some of the government officials have been incredibly supportive. We have Congresswoman Gwen Moore that for the last 12 years has come and spoken at every one of our galas. We've had this last time we had the lieutenant governor also come. They come to a number of our events. We have one of our senators, Senator Tammy Baldwin, that has been very, very supportive. The governor came to we did a COVID vigil, and he came and spoke at that. So we have, I believe, with some of the government officials, very good relations. With some of the other government officials, although we reach out to them and we have met with them, unfortunately, sometimes it seems that some of them, while incredibly gracious to us when we meet with them, but it seems that there's too much polarization in the government across the board today, and too much of people having to toe their party line. And I think that this is something that is newer in the United States, and it's unfortunate, but I think it's something that we can all work to try and change.
Janan, I'd like to add something if I may, and please correct me, but as I was doing my research on you, I did note that you were the first Muslim person to offer a prayer for the general Wisconsin legislature. And I don't know when that occurred, but you said you didn't realize you were the first and you didn't think it was any big deal. But when they told you that you were the first, you were sorry that you hadn't invited more people to attend that ceremony. So please correct it.
Right.
That's incorrect.
Right. Yes, that's absolutely correct. So when they invited me, I thought, okay, this is nice, and it's another day, another day, and I didn't even think to bring anybody. I would have brought my kids if I had known it was the first or something. I was the first, but when I got there, and I had been actually invited by one of the legislators who then became the lieutenant governor. And he knew me because he was part of some of the activism work in Milwaukee, and he had come and been part of some of the work that we did together. And then he became a legislator, and he invited me. And when I got there, I was sort of taken aback because everybody and their cousin was there. The media was there. I thought, oh, is this normally how this is? And then I find out that no, I was actually the first Muslim ever to do this. So, I mean, I'm proud that I was the first Muslim. At the same time, I thought, wow, it took this long for the first Muslim to do this, because they've had representatives of many of the other faiths do this before.
Any other questions?
Online, anybody have a question?
I would specifically, Doyle, if you're there, I want to thank you for being here. Doyle is a member of the District Peace Committee, and I am so grateful that he's joined us today. So thank you, Doyle.
Kevin, I wouldn't have missed it for the world. I do have one question for your speaker. I guess it's been a while, but there was a lot of violence in Wisconsin, racial violence. And I wonder whether Wisconsin is a little bit like North Carolina, where we have an urban, rural split. We seem to have that in this state, and I wonder if you could speak about that in Wisconsin.
Yes, thank you, and thank you very much for joining this meeting. I don't know, you might know, maybe not. Milwaukee in particular is considered the most segregated city in the United States. And it's had that dubious title for decades, unfortunately. And I think, you know, for quite a while, when many of the factory jobs, the kind of middle income factory jobs closed down here a couple of decades ago, that really led to a loss of jobs and a lot of the issues that are going on. And so, yes, the violence is there. I am part of the Milwaukee Commission on Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault, and we also are addressing some of these types of things, and we are working with the mayor. They just got some funding to increase mental health services. And there's also, you know, what we have realized is that it's very difficult to change the culture that's taking place within the city and within some of these areas if money is not put into them. We have a lot of money that has come in and is building up the downtown. You know, that we are getting some top conventions that are coming here. We have an unbelievable stadium that was built. You know, we have Giannis here. we have the Bucks here. We have some really great facilities, but really within walking distance are neighborhoods where the houses are just in disarray. There's no money that's being put into some of these areas. And so we've been really pushing that you just can't have that. You know, you have the suburbs are thriving, and you have a lot of these other areas where there's just no money. There's efforts, again, politically motivated, unfortunately, efforts to kind of lessen the amount of money that goes to the Milwaukee public schools, which are very, very important for many of these areas. So it's not one issue, it's really multiple issues. And I think that finding ways to have transportation to transport people from the city to areas where there are jobs that are outside the city is very, very important. And along with mental health services, and also we have a big issue with lead in the water, and I've been part of the committee as well. I don't know how many of you know about lead paint in many of these decaying houses, but the effect on learning, the effect on even the psyche of individuals that have lead poisoning is unbelievable. And they have found that a significant number, in fact, of the incarcerated individuals coming out of the city have high levels of lead. And so like I said, there's so many issues to address. But there needs to be the commitment from government officials to put that money where it is really needed.
Thank you. Anyone
Thank
else?
you.
Real quick question.
Well, hearing no other questions, Janan, I want to again thank you for your presentation today. You've really helped to enlighten us. I know you've helped to enlighten me. I'm so grateful for not only your time here today, but for the work that you're doing in Milwaukee, because none of this happens without catalysts, without people who are actually willing to get out in the community and roll up their sleeves and get the job done. You've been doing it for years and years. There's a 5-minute video that we wanted to share. I don't think we have enough time to do that, but Jenny, perhaps we can include it in the next newsletter. Janan, on behalf of the Dilworth South End Rotary Club of Charlotte, I want to thank you. We will also I'm gonna be in touch with you because we're gonna be making a donation on your behalf to the nonprofit of your choice. So many thanks again, and thank you for working with us to facilitate this presentation.
And I agree with everything you said. Thank you so much for sticking with us until we figured out the best way to get you on here. So thank you, and thank you all. Let's pass up let's do the raffle. Jim, why don't you put the raffle for us?
You can't pick, these are tickets.
Let's
Looking
How about
forward to
Darryl?
our-
Daryl hasn't, Daryl, did you buy
Yeah,
tickets?
there, you probably
Go ahead, pick a ticket, Darryl.
Probably get it, Jim.
I thought he said Carol.
Are you coming to me? Come on,
He
Darryl.
has been gone a long time.
461. 461. Brinker.
Okay.
He didn't plan that, he did not plan that.
Jerry got the winning ticket. Let's pass up our cart buckets and let's stand and do the 5-way test. Of all the things we think Sarah do, number 1.
Is the truth.
Number 2.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Number 3.
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
Number 4.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And number 5.
Will it be fun?
Thank you, everybody.
Just a quick request,
Quick request, listen up,
please put your food in
One
this.
more, oh yeah, trash.
Trash right here.
Brad.